Welcome back to Vintage Family Recipes. I promised you that I would make my grandmother's rice pudding recipe, and so that's what I'm going to do today. Hers is so much fancier than the one I made last time. I've already pre-made my rice, 2 cups. You can use minute rice, you can use regular rice. It can be even a couple of days old. It really doesn't matter. But I now have my 2 cups of rice in my bowl. I have not made this very often, so I am going to have to check the recipe. I need anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm actually only going to use 1/4 cup of sugar. It's what I used the other day when I made it for my family, and they liked it just fine. I'm just going to sprinkle it around on the rice. And then I'm using my little bit of leftover milk from my Tres Leches. The recipe calls just for a 16-ounce can of evaporated milk, but because I had this left over, I'm going to use what I had left over, which is actually a little more than 16 ounces, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to mix that in here and get that mixed together first. So it's all nice and mixed in. I will need to use 2 egg yolks and vanilla. I'm going to do my vanilla first. It calls for 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. So I'm just using my half measuring because I decided not to dirty a bunch of dishes today, so I'm just going to pour in my 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to add 2 eggs. I'm going to add 2 egg yolks. I'm going to save the egg whites for my meringue that goes on top of the egg. So the first thing I'm going to do is split my egg. That's separated nicely. So there is my yolk. And I am going to just kind of break that up a little bit before I put it in to the rice pudding. So there's my yellow. I'm going to do my second yolk. Perfect. Put the 2 egg whites aside for the meringue, which goes on after it's already cooked for 30 minutes. Oh, I should have set my oven before I even started because this goes together extremely quickly, as you can see. Now I'm going to add my peaches. You can use canned peaches if you like. If you used canned peaches, don't use the liquid. Winston Boo, it's okay. So I've mixed in my peaches. I used 2 fresh peaches. Nice sized, I'll show you. This is about the size peach I used, and I used 2 of them. It calls for 1/2 cup of raisins. Believe it or not, I don't have raisins in my house. So, but I did have, very strange, goldenberries. So I'm actually going to use 1/2 cup of a goldenberries that are dried, just like a raisin would be. I'm going to put them in with my peaches and the rest of the mix. Spread them around. Mix it up so they're nice and spread out and not all clumped together because they are bigger than raisins. The next step is literally to just pour it in your baking pan and put it in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. So, here we go. Let's get the last of this scraped out and in. Spread this out nicely. Here we go. And it's in. I'm back. I've cut up peaches that are going to go on top of the rice pudding when it comes out of the oven before I put the meringue on. Since it has about 15 minutes left, I'm going to go ahead and make my meringue. So the meringue that I use calls for 4 egg whites. I use 2 egg yolks in my recipe, so I'm going to have 2 leftover egg yolks, which my dogs will be very, very thankful for. There we go. I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. In just a moment, I'm going to whip the eggs just a little bit first. And now I'm going to add the 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And get that going. With the egg whites. I'm going to put in my 1/4 cup of sugar. My nice peaks just rise up and stay up when I lift them. My timer has about 10 minutes left. Every couple minutes I will just remix the meringue to make sure that it stays mixed well together. The next step is placing the peaches on top. So I'm just going to lay peach slices on top. And you can see that it's already setting because it's got the brown, or the tan I should say, around the edge so that you can see that it's set, which is what you want it to be before you put the meringue on. Put in the last couple of little peaches here. There we go. Put this on top. Spread it around so it covers everything. There we go. It's okay if you see some of the peaches that you just put on top popping up through the meringue, but you do want to make sure that you get it all the way into the corners and around the edges. Just kind of swirl it so it looks pretty. And then I'm going to put it back in the 350-degree oven for between 8 and 12 minutes until the meringue is set and it's a nice golden brown. Slide it in. Go. Let's check it. Oh, she looks pretty. Have to let it cool before we can eat it. We're back for the taste test. This doesn't really cut, it more scoops. So I'm going to just scoop a piece out and show you the size. So that's about how big a normal spoonful is. I'm going to give that to Andrew because he's being generous in trying this for me because peaches are definitely not his thing. I know this is my thing. So,
what's in here?
there are goldenberries instead of raisins because I didn't have raisins. Peaches, rice,
Well, obviously rice.
milk.
I meant like just what are the dark
fruits.
things?
Yeah, they're called goldenberries.
A raisin-like? Is that the idea?
They're sort of raisin-like, yes.
I am struggling.
Do you want a spoon instead?
Yes. It's pretty good.
Do you like the meringue?
I mean, it tastes fine. I'm not a big fan of the big fluffy, like whipped cream type stuff.
Right.
There's no, like substance. It's like eating air.
Okay.
And so I'm not a fan of that in general, but the taste is fine, right? It tastes very good. And I lost my train of thought.
Goldenberries?
I don't know what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Brain short-circuited, sorry.
That's okay. I actually am not a fan of raisins. I used to be when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I'm not a fan of raisins. That's one of the reasons I decided to try the goldenberries. And I have to say I do like those. Like, I'm not going to take a handful and eat them, but I do like them cooked into this. It gives a flavor that's different than a raisin flavor, and I actually like it.
Yeah, I like this. This is good.
I'm surprised you liked it.
Me too.
Thank you for joining us on Vintage Family Recipes. We'll see you next time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take the time to do so. Drop us a comment, leave a like. Night!